Another weekend is in the books, and the Heisman race is looking to be wild so far. Yes, it's early, but there are honestly about 15 to 20 players that I really wanted to include in my top 10. I'm sure after this weekend, this list will change significantly as there are a number of players who have some pretty big games this weekend. As we get ready to enter week 4, here is my Heisman top 10. Entering my top 10 for the first time this season is Washington State quarterback Cameron Ward. He's quietly been one of the more underrated quarterbacks in all of college football this season. Through the first 3 games, he's completing 72% of his passes and has thrown for 1,000 yards with 9 passing touchdowns and no interceptions. He's also added 100 yards on the ground with 2 rushing scores as well. He's looked great in every game so far and already has a pretty impressive victory against Wisconsin, but this weekend will be his toughest test as they face Oregon State. If Washington State and Cameron Ward pick up a victory, I think Ward is going to move a lot higher in my rankings next week. Another player entering my top 10 for the first time this season is Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. He's thrown for over 850 yards with 7 passing touchdowns. He's also added over 200 yards on the ground with 2 rushing scores as well. Dart currently leads the SEC in adjusted passing yards per attempt and is number 3 in total yards and number 4 in touchdowns responsible for. This past weekend against Georgia Tech, he threw for 250 yards with a touchdown while rushing for 140 yards with 2 scores. He has an opportunity to really help his chances this weekend as he goes on the road to take on Alabama. With a win and a great game, he'll move up in my rankings next week as well. Had it not been for losing in week 1, Jaden Daniels would probably be in my top 3 or top 4, but he's still hanging around in the Heisman conversation because he's been fantastic this year for the Tigers. He's completing 74% of his passes and has thrown for 1,000 yards. He has 8 passing touchdowns with 1 interception. He's also rushed for 150 yards with 2 rushing scores as well. Daniels actually leads the SEC with over 1,100 total yards and is number 3 in the entire country. He's also 4th in the SEC in total touchdowns. He had an insane game this weekend against Mississippi State, completing 88% of his passes for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was also LSU's leading rusher as he rushed for 65 yards with 2 rushing scores. Again, the only reason I don't have him higher is because his biggest game of the season was a loss. But if Daniels keeps this up and LSU keeps winning, he'll continue to climb in these rankings. Bo Nix is quietly putting together almost the exact same season he had last year. Through 3 games, he's completing 78% of his passes and has thrown for 900 yards. He has 8 passing touchdowns and is yet to throw an interception. He's been really quiet on the ground this year as he only has 60 rushing yards and doesn't have a single touchdown yet, so that's kind of hurting his campaign just a little. He has a chance to add to his campaign this weekend as Oregon is set to host Colorado. It feels really bad having Sam Hartman this low because he's been fantastic this season, but I just think there are a few other players that have the edge over him. Through 4 games, he's completing 71% of his passes and has thrown for over 1,000 yards. He has 13 passing touchdowns and is yet to throw an interception this year. I guess the only thing holding Hartman back at this point is the fact that Notre Dame really hasn't played anyone. They did play NC State on the road, but I don't think the Wolfpack are as good of a team as they've been in years past. Like I've said with every other player on this list up to this point, Hartman really has a chance to help his campaign as he faces Ohio State this weekend. Before I get to the rest of my Heisman list, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football. And odds are you are subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting videos every day during the season, so if you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. After last week's thrilling upset win on the road at Alabama, Quinn Ewers was kind of quiet this week. Against Wyoming, he completed only 52% of his passes for 130 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. I get it, they still got the win, but Wyoming was really hanging around in this game and Texas looked like they might be an upset watch. I was a little disappointed to see the Quinn Ewers took kind of a step back after last week's performance, but I still think he's worthy of being in the top 5. The Seminoles were an upset watch this past weekend, but Jordan Travis was able to escape with a victory. On the year, he's thrown for over 740 yards with 8 passing touchdowns and only 1 interception. He's also added 100 yards on the ground with a rushing score as well. He wasn't great this past weekend against Boston College, as he threw for only 220 yards with 2 touchdowns, but again, he was able to pull off the victory. The reason I still have him so high is because of his week 1 performance against LSU, which is looking better and better now considering how good of a team LSU is starting to look. It was looking like Shedeur Sanders was going to knock down a few spots, but he managed to pull off the win against Colorado State this weekend. He was fantastic yet again, as he threw for 350 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. Were actually the fewest he's thrown in a game this season. His 4 passing touchdowns match what he did against TCU in week 1. So far on the season, Sanders has 1,200 total yards, which is the second best in the entire country. He also has 11 touchdowns responsible for, that has him 3rd in the Pac-12 and number 8 in all of college football. His 107 pass completions lead the country, and his completion percentage of 78.7 leads the Pac-12 and is the 4th best in the nation. This actually may come as a bit of a surprise this week, but I have Caleb Williams at number 2. Now, I'll get to the reasoning with my number 1 guy, but for Caleb Williams, he didn't play this past weekend, so maybe that's why I'm a little higher on this other guy. For the season, Caleb Williams has still been fantastic, as he's completed 79% of his passes for 900 yards. He has 12 passing touchdowns and is yet to throw an interception. I mean, as of right now, he's number 1 in the Pac-12 in total touchdowns responsible for. But coming in at number 1, I have Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. All offseason, I've been talking about Penix Jr. being a guy that I think can throw for over 5,000 yards with 50 passing touchdowns. And he's currently on that pace. Through 3 games, he already has 1,300 passing yards and 12 passing touchdowns. He currently leads the entire country in total yards and is number 3 in touchdowns responsible for. I mean, this past weekend on the road at Michigan State, he completed 77% of his passes while throwing for just under 500 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. So far this season, Penix Jr. has surpassed 400 yards in every game and is averaging 4 passing touchdowns a game. Let's just say that Washington is able to make it to the Pac-12 title game and then they play in their bowl game. That would be a total of 14 games for the Huskies this season. At the current pace Michael Penix Jr. is on, he would finish the season throwing for 6,200 yards. Based on his touchdown rate, he's also on pace to throw 56 passing touchdowns as well. Again, I get it's been only 3 games, but Michael Penix Jr. is currently on pace towards having the greatest season we've ever seen from a collegiate quarterback. And for that reason, I got him slightly ahead of Caleb Williams right now. Well, those are my top 10 Heisman rankings after week 3 of the college football season. Was there a player I had ranked too high or a player ranked too low? Or was there a player that definitely should have been in my Heisman top 10 that didn't make the cut? Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.